As you move through the book of Revelation, when you get to chapter 7, John is in the scene where he sees the 144,000 gathered and a multitude of people before the throne. And one of the questions John asks the angel is, "Sir, who are these people?" And the answer is, these are the ones that have come out of the great tribulation. Now, as we've talked about before, when you look at Revelation, there's a couple of different ways to approach it. And one of the ways to approach it is to see the front end of the book as a principle of the history of the church, what will happen from the cross into the new creation. And so when John is told that these are the ones that have come out of the great tribulation, the reader would connect it back to the time when Jesus talked about a time of great tribulation. In Matthew 24, the disciples asked Jesus about the temple and its beauty and what is going to happen at the end of the age and what are the signs. And Jesus talks about a great tribulation that will be worse than at any point in the entire world of history. He also is thinking about Daniel and Daniel's prophecy of there being tribulation as well at the signs of the end of the age. So when we talk about the Great Tribulation, in the Scriptures, it's really clear that the church will go through a time of tribulation always. There will always be trials and tribulation. That word meaning a pressing in of, or something that causes you to feel squeezed, and out of that squeezing, those hardships, those sorrows, those sufferings, they're going to produce in us fruit. It's always promised that the Christian is not going to have a life of ease. But when there is a reference to the Great Tribulation, there's either two ways to approach this. There's either the Great Tribulation being a specific moment in history that a condensed period of time will be very hard for the church to go through. There'll be persecution, resistance. In the back half of Revelation, we'll see, again, a reference to this Great Tribulation, and as it talks about the beast and the empire and the spirit of the age, there's going to be a repeat of the same theme. There's going to be a great tribulation. But these saints that are here in chapter 7:14, where they've come out of the great tribulation, either they've made it through this, what is either a 7-period time of tribulation for the church, or they've made it through the great, large, mega tribulation that has been a long period from the cross until the point with which they gave their lives for Christ. The Great Tribulation is connected also to the rapture, which we'll talk in another video, but how you approach the tribulation is how you see the timeline and the different approaches to the timeline of the second coming of Christ. We'll talk about that in another video, but just for your understanding, when we talk about tribulation, we understand it to be either a short period of time, which is either reference to Daniel and to Jesus, and a 7-year period, or to a long tribulation. Either way, the church is delivered through it, and the promise of the gospel is the thing that we hold on to, that no matter what happens, even if we give our lives, we are delivered safely to Christ. And these are the saints in chapter 7:14 who have made it to the other side, and they're awaiting the judgment seat of Christ.